on. This is indeed the Bottom Line Podcast. I'm Jimmy Fedizzi alongside Neil Villapiano. We hope you're doing well. As always, thank you guys so much for taking some time out of your day to listen to us. We really do appreciate it. Before we get started, as always, questions, opinions, Twitter at BottomLineWMCX and at The MVP Show, and also on Instagram at BottomLineWMCX. Use hashtag BottomLine. Voice message on Anchor, the app, or at Anchor.fm. And if you're watching on YouTube, please leave a like and a comment down below with your thoughts, and make sure you subscribe, as well as on Apple, Google, and Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Just include my first name, Jimmy, when searching for this podcast. Neil, I know this weekend was kind of rough in terms of famous people who we've lost, but other than that, how are you doing otherwise?
Yeah, well, first of all, obviously, we did lose some pretty significant people, not just in the sports world, but certainly in the, pop culture world.
Yeah.
Losing Chadwick Boseman, which, the fact that none of us knew that he had cancer, at least, he kept it very quiet and was able to still, create several big-time movies from 2016 until, the time of his death. It is pretty remarkable. And then obviously we lost the great John Thompson, one of the greatest coaches, certainly the greatest coach in Georgetown history, one of the greatest coaches in general. Obviously a man that was was basically on this earth, well before his time. I mean, he knew he was fighting social injustice before it was cool, as Jay Billis said yesterday. So, I mean, we're continuing to lose a lot of really impactful people, and it's just been a very difficult year with regards to people being able to. Now, obviously, not everybody has died from the coronavirus, so it's not like the coronavirus is the main culprit. People, there are other viruses, diseases out there that can, Also, there is this thing called old age. So
yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Some people just, it's time to go. But other than that, obviously, I'm doing good. I've gotten off to a really good start with this week. I've already got the newest episode, the Devil's State of Mind podcast, out yesterday, so that was good. I jumped on a Devil's podcast late last night and talked for about 2 hours, so that was
Raising Hell in Jersey, right?
Yeah, Raising Hell in Jersey. Just another one of the many Devil's podcasts we have in the fan base, and they wanted me to come on and talk a little bit, and that was a lot of fun. I worked on my next book. Got another chapter done yesterday. Which is good. So all in all, just keeping myself productive, even though we're very early on into this week. Oh, and also happy September. This is the first, obviously. So happy September.
I would say I'm surprised, but with the way this year has gone, seriously. Go kick rocks 2020.
Right. But I'm good.
You have no idea how much I want this year to be gone.
Well, the one thing we got to keep in mind, this year is just a number. It really is at the end of the day. There's nothing saying that crazy stuff won't happen in 2021.
Oh, no, you're right.
But obviously people feel that, from the, I guess you would say, spiritual, mythological, reasoning, they would like this year to go away so that they can kind of start. And I think somebody posted it on a social media platform that I saw. It might have been on Snapchat, I think, but somebody said, if you should put Survive 2020 as the flex, it's something on your resume. And I agree. Like, I think if you have Survive 2020, you should, on your resume, you're going to get hired like really easily, especially if you can survive, financially and things of that nature.
Right.
I think that's a job well done. So, it's good. The other thing you forgot to mention is the newly and freshly cut.
I was going to mention both of us got haircuts over this.
Yeah. So,
I gotta be honest. I gotta be honest though. Yours is looking kind of better than mine though. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, I went to a professional to get it done. So, obviously, I think the chances of getting a very, very clean and successful cut is much higher. But yeah, I'm good. So, I got a new look. I've been off to a good start this week, and I'm ready to talk about, what we're going to talk about today.
That's good, man. I'm glad to hear that.
I don't really want to talk about it per se, but you're the boss, and you tell me what we're supposed to talk about. I just have to.
unfortunately, we have to. But before we even get into that, on a serious note, we discussed people who we've lost this past weekend. I'm actually doing this podcast this week with a bit of an extra heavy heart than normal because over this past weekend, I personally have lost somebody very close to me. I know this is going to sound a little bit weird. No, it was not a family member, thank God. But he certainly felt like it for a while to me. As my old principal, Lawrence Ambrosino, who I went to elementary school with back in Shrewsbury, New Jersey. I unfortunately had lost him to a 2-year battle with leukemia. He'd been battling it for 2 years. I think 2018 was when he was first diagnosed, and he hasn't been. I knew he wasn't doing all that great, but I gotta tell you, that man was a fighter. He was an absolute warrior. He kept fighting till the very end. It's a shame. He was only 72 years young, so he still had pretty much a full life ahead of him, in my opinion. At least he still had a full life ahead of him. But the reason why it's a little bit extra heavy on me is because, and I'm sure a bunch of my classmates from elementary school can share the same thoughts I have, is that this man was pretty much a mentor, not just to me and my family, but to everybody, really. He was a football player. His older brother was unfortunately killed in the line of duty. I forget if he was a police officer or in the military. I apologize for forgetting that, but I'm gonna have to do research on that. So he had to carry that burden on his shoulders for pretty much his entire life. But now I'm just happy that they can see each other again in heaven. So that's always a huge, huge blessing there. But no, I mean, this man was basically, like I said, not only my mentor as a little kid, because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think I would have made it this far in life if it was not for this man. That's how much this man has meant so much to me, to my life. And what I went through in elementary school was, let's just say it wasn't fun. I'm not going to get into the details on that here. But for those that know me personally, like you, Neil, you know how that goes. But this man he meant a lot to me. He meant a lot to my family. He meant a lot to my other classmates. He pretty much meant a lot to everybody who knew him, especially out in the the Staten Island area where him and his family currently reside. So if I do seem a little bit out of it this week, I do apologize in advance, but I do thank you, Neil, for understanding. And I thank you, if you are listening or watching, I thank you in advance for understanding. So a little bit of an extra heavy heart for me, but I'm doing this for him. And of course, I want to try and be a warrior like he was. So
it's good to hear. Well, I mean, obviously I didn't go to the same school as you, so I don't know this person really at all. I've had several people that I went to high school with that went to that middle school and elementary school, and they know of him, and they posted something about it. It's never. It's first of all, it's never great to lose anybody, whether it's a family member, a friend, a iconic figure like some of the people we mentioned. It's never a fun time. But when it's somebody that has impacted your life, whether it is a family member, a friend, or somebody that you came across in work, in school, whatever the case may be, it does hurt just as much as anything else. People like that come across your life for a reason, and they're there at that specific time because they need to be, because they're there to try to help you, continue on and to make your life as great as you want it to be. And it sounds like to me that this man came into your life at the exact right time and helped you get to the point that where you are right now, which is a very big thing. And you've certainly come along. I've only had the pleasure of knowing you for about 4 years now personally. But I can say that you've grown a lot in many different ways, not just as a as a host, broadcaster, not just from that standpoint, but as a human being, as someone who cares deeply about others. And I think a lot of that has to go to not just your parents, certainly, because your parents do a very, very good job of raising you, without a question, but definitely, but this man as well. And that's really good. And, obviously leukemia is not a fun thing to deal with. Some people have fortunately been able to get past it. I think Cal Ripken Jr. had cancer a year ago, and he went through it, and he got through it. Obviously, I only use sports figures because this is just the best example I could give.
Oh no, please, you're fine. You're fine.
There's thousands of people out there who have to deal with this as well. So it's not like he's any different than any other regular human being. But unfortunately, sometimes, and maybe I would say maybe more than most, leukemia does end up being a very difficult thing to completely get rid of. And it's a shame that at just 72 years young, like you mentioned, that he's taken away from us. But maybe, one positive thing you could say is that maybe, he did everything that he needed to do on this planet, and it was time to go home. And that's kind of the way you can look at it, as much as it might, people might ask why, why do good people like that, but sometimes their impact is more impactful when they're not here. And it just goes to show. So I think the best way to, honor him in any way is not necessarily, doing a podcast or anything today, but to simply just continue to take the lessons that he gave you and continue to be the best person and try to pass on that same knowledge to people younger than us, so that we can continue this trend. Because, obviously the big thing in this world, right, in this country more in particular, is the fight against social injustice and, the Black Lives Matter movement. Really, it comes down to the human aspect of it, really. We're just trying to become better people. At the end of the day, we're just trying to become better human beings. And if we can pass on that knowledge of knowing what's right and what's wrong, and how to truly be, oneself, and how to be the best version of yourself, and to really love and care about everyone, especially Black people. If we can do that now and continue to emphasize it to the younger generations that follow us, in no time at all, this world would be a better place. And this world was better for having that man on this planet, as you are a product of that, and a lot of people are a product of it. So he will definitely be missed. Again, like I said, I don't know him personally. I didn't go to that school, but I'm sure he had that big of an impact from what you guys have told me. And, I hope nothing but the best for his family during this very difficult time of grieving. And, I hope that they can get through it.
Absolutely. I do as well. My thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family as well. And I definitely thank you for the kind words, and thank you to everybody who has reached out to me personally about this. I can't thank you enough. And, like I said, this week a little bit rough, but I'm going to try. I'm going to definitely be the warrior that he was. But so with that out of the way, let's just at least try to talk about the Yankees first.
This isn't going to make you feel any better.
No, but it'll at least help me get my frustrations out.
Yeah, no, it'll be a new form. It's a new form of getting your emotions out. We go from that to anger. So let's keep it going.
But I promise we'll get into the Mets as well, because they actually did make they made a significant move at the trade deadline. But the Mets are probably just as frustrating, if maybe less frustrating to watch than the Yankees are. But we'll get into them in a little bit. But oh my God, Neil, how do I put this lightly? You and I obviously are both Yankee fans. We will be until the day that we are in heaven. But how do I put this without being too blunt? Oh wait, actually, I can't, because watching this team right now is absolutely frustrating. Because this team right now, actually, before I even talk about that, let me give you the current standings right now at the time of this recording, which is on September 1st, 2020. As we stand, as of right now, because obviously this will be updated, Tampa Bay is first in the AL East at 25-11. Very, very impressive. The New York Yankees are second at 19-14. Toronto is 18-5. They're third. Baltimore is 15-19. And Boston is pretty much at the bottom of the barrel, which I think is something that everybody expected because, Boston pretty much lost everybody. They lost a couple of key players.
They didn't even lose it. They just traded it away. It's not even that they lost it. It's just that they basically decided that they were going to completely destroy this team without giving up Jackie Bradley Jr., Alexander Bogaerts, which kind of makes you wonder what exactly are they doing? Is this a rebuild? I think this is more of a retool than a rebuild.
Yeah, I was gonna say retool. I don't want to say rebuild.
It was a rebuild. Bogaerts and Bradley would have gone. Either even in the off season or and they could still very well move on from those guys. But
it's still a possibility. But like I said, the Yankees right now are 19-14. And I gotta be real with you. How that's possible, I have no idea. Because if you watched this past weekend against the Mets, where they, not only get swept in the first doubleheader they played, because they had 3 doubleheaders in 5 days, keep that in mind. Not only do they get swept in the first doubleheader against the Mets, and by the way, they lose while the Mets are considered the home team in Yankee Stadium on a walk-off home run. I believe it was
Ahmed Rosario.
It was
Ahmed Rosario hit a home run off of Aroldis Chapman.
Yes.
On an off-speed pitch, I might add.
Yeah. Only in 2020 can the Mets walk off against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. Only in 2020. But
ladies and gentlemen, this raid is going to take about 20 minutes, so I'm just gonna let him go.
Just take your time.
I'm the voice today, ladies and gentlemen. I am the voice of reason. So.
Yeah, all right. But anyway, their last 10 games, the Yankees are 3-7. They're 4.5 games back of the division. They have a run differential of plus 23. Since August 9th, the Yankees starters have a 3.46 ERA, which is 5th in Major League Baseball. Okay.
That's pretty good.
That's been pretty solid. But their bullpen, on the other hand,
is all right.
Since August 9th, a 5.61 ERA, which is 24th in all of Major League Baseball. The way this Yankees team is playing right now is straight garbage. This does not look like the team that everybody expected. Whether we're like, they're going to be legitimate competitors in the American League East. They're going to go to the World Series. Well, doesn't look that way right now. And yes, the injuries don't help, but I'm sorry. That is no longer an excuse. As a matter of fact, this whole season was no excuse. I get it. It's only 60 games, but you had no excuses this year. You had none. I mean, Aaron Judge, when the hell is he going to stay healthy? I mean, Giancarlo Stanton could be coming back this week, and he's actually looked pretty solid this season. So I can't really blame Stanton too much because he hasn't really done anything bad yet this season to convince me that he should be gone, although the Yankees can't get rid of him. The Yankees are basically putting out a minor league roster. That's what you're putting out there. Now, I get it. Clint Frazier finally getting his chance, and outside of maybe outside of maybe last night, it was a decent game. It was a decent game for him, but he's actually shown that Clint Frazier actually looks pretty damn good. So maybe you should consider playing him every day until somebody comes back from injury. And then maybe, just maybe, if they're smart, they'll keep him and maybe have him available on the bench to pinch hit for somebody. Maybe if they're smart, they'll do that. I don't know. But anyway, let me give you some more stats here. Courtesy of @NY Yankees Stats on Twitter, by the way. So big shout outs to them. Because this guy, everybody is already ripping apart. Well, let me take that back. Not everybody's ripping him apart. But some Yankee fans are already ripping
them apart. If you aren't ripping them apart, then you clearly are not watching.
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank you.
You're clearly not watching.
You know exactly who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Garrett Cole. Now, let me give you this stat here. Versus the Rays this season.
You say he sucks, I'm going to laugh. If you
16 and a third innings pitched.
Okay.
Versus the Rays, a 4.96 ERA. Versus everybody else, 29 and 2/3 innings pitched, a 3.34 ERA. Now, obviously, this year the long ball has been an issue for him. I get that, but
what do you mean just this year?
Well,
this has been his MO for years.
Well, yeah.
He did this in Houston.
That was the wrong MO. I'm sorry.
Garrett Cole has always been a home run pitcher.
Well,
He's
yes,
always been this way.
True.
And if you notice, most of his home runs that he gives up are only solo home runs.
Yeah. That's right.
I'll go into greater detail with that when it's my turn.
Excuse me.
I just wanted to say that because I want people to understand that Yankees fans should understand this is not new for Garrett Cole.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not new.
And by the way, he's human. He's human.
Not like G-Man Choi.
He's not. Wait, what?
Not like G-Man Choi. G-Man Choi is not human.
Oh,
G-Man Choi is awesome.
Oh my God! Don't
G-Man
even.
Choi
Do not even get me
dad.
started with that man. That man is a Yankee killer.
Yeah, because
I've been saying it for a while. That man kills the Yankees, and he was a Yankee at one point, and now he's out there killing it. Just like Robinson Cano always hits well.
Hold on.
Against the Yankees.
Let's be fair. G-Man Choi wasn't that good when he was with the Yankees.
Well, okay.
Look,
all right,
not everybody.
Fine.
Jimmy, newsflash: not everybody can play in New York.
I know that. I am.
Sonny Gray.
Yes.
Does that you want to go reach in Sonny Gray? Maybe I don't know. He didn't pitch well in New York, and now he's
killing it in Cincinnati.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but
look,
anyway,
not everybody can play in New York.
Yes, I understand that. But anyway,
good. I'm glad you see reason.
I saw that people on Twitter were saying like, "Oh, Garrett Cole sucks. Why did we sign him to that deal?" Hold on a second. Can we be patient with him? I get it. He's pretty much being paid to be a perfectionist, but I'm sorry. He's not a perfectionist at all. No pitcher, no athlete in any sport is going to be perfect, especially not this guy. Okay?
Sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Neil. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, they say he's a perfectionist. Well, no. He's a perfectionist. He himself is a perfectionist. Like, he wants to be perfect. He wants to be look, we obviously know that like nobody's perfect, clearly. But like when you're a perfectionist, and I am as well, you want to make sure that you do everything exactly the way you want it to go. So you try really hard to prepare. I always said that Peyton Manning in football was a perfectionist. That's why he studied so much film. This man literally wanted to know everything and anything about what's going on in the game so that he is the most prepared. But there is a thing called over-preparing because then you start confusing yourself. I'm not saying that's what's happening with Garrett Cole, but maybe Garrett Cole, because of the fact that he's now making $324 million or something like that over the next 10 years, obviously the pressure is on him to perform. And are we seeing a bump in the road? Yeah, this is a bump in the road to me. This is not a panic situation. And again, when it's my turn, I'll explain in greater detail. So.
That's all right.
I'm sorry to keep interrupting, but I'm trying to.
No, dude, please.
Conversation flowing.
Please, it's fine. Don't even worry about it. But here's one more stat for you that I found.
Yep.
The Yankees this season against all other teams are 18-7. What are they against the Rays? 1-7. 1-7. They cannot beat this team for some reason. Oh, wait a minute. I know why they can't beat them. Because the Rays are much better than the Yankees because they have great starting pitching. They actually have guys who can hit. Okay? Kevin Kiermaier especially, he's been with that team for a while. Brennan Lau. I mean, oh my God. The Rays, and dare I say it, the Mets are a better team than the Yankees because here's the thing. The Mets actually have guys that can hit. That's basically what I'm trying to say. The Mets actually have guys. Yes, Yes, I'm perfectly fine.
Why did you are falling into the same trap that every reporter is falling into? That why are we hyping the Mets again? All they did, literally, all they've done is
I'm not trying to hype them up like the rest of the world is, but all I'm saying is the Mets actually have guys that can actually come up clutch. The Yankees right now have two guys that have been their offense that are actually doing something. DJ LeMahieu and Luke Voit. That is it. That is it.
No.
Who's the third? Who's the third guy?
Clint Frazier. Are you not watching?
Well, outside of Clint Frazier, outside of him, DJ LeMahieu and Luke Voit. That is it. Name me anybody else, because Gary Sanchez has had an abysmal season. Absolutely abysmal. He can't block pass balls.
So are you ready to admit it? Are you ready to admit it then? Are you ready to admit what I've said for several years now about Gary Sanchez?
Slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Sick. Yes. Slowly but surely. It's not obvious at this point, but okay.
But I am running out of patience with him. I am. Don't get me wrong.
I ran out of patience with him 3 years ago.
He's had an abysmal season. Absolutely abysmal. No question about it. I am not denying that at all. But this Yankee team, I swear, if they don't get their act together soon, they'll be lucky to make the playoffs. I'm sorry. I know they're holding on to second place right now, and that automatically guarantees you a playoff spot. But if they keep this up, especially against the Tampa Bay Rays, I'm sorry. If they still make it to the playoffs, they ain't doing a damn thing. I'm sorry. That's the bottom line with me. This Yankees team is absolutely abysmal right now. They're frustrating to watch, and I really hope that and let me add one more thing here before you go, Neil. I apologize for rambling on. They didn't make any moves at the trade deadline. Meanwhile, you have a team with the San Diego Padres who are basically getting everybody who exists in Major League Baseball, for crying out loud. So, Brian Cashman, what are you doing? What are you doing? Now, give me a second.
Yeah. Go ahead.
This Yankees team is abysmal to watch right now. I'm sorry. They are just that frustrating to me, and I really, really hope that they know what they're doing, and once they get their top guys back, because boy, do they miss them. And by the way, the thing with their bullpen,
it's not that
the loss of Tommy Kahnle has been overlooked, in my opinion, because boy, do they miss him. Boy, do they miss him. He has been a big presence for that Yankee bullpen. Chad Green looks rusty as hell. Chapman looks rusty as hell. Now, I get it. They're resting them extra days, so maybe that has to be a tiny bit of a factor there, but I digress. But bottom line for me is that this Yankees team is just super, super frustrating to watch, and I really, really hope and pray that they get their heads out of their you-know-whats. Go ahead, Neil. I'm done.
So I want to start by going back a couple years ago, actually about 3 years ago, 2017, when literally everybody in baseball was a Yankee fan. I'm not even just talking about Yankee fan. I'm talking about like Major League Baseball wanted the Yankees to go win the World Series. Remember how fun that team was? Remember how young and fun that team was? You had Judge, who just
and they weren't expected to do anything.
Right, exactly. There was no expectation. Everybody thought that the Yankees were going to win something like 85 games. Joe Girardi was going to be fired. I mean, in my opinion, it didn't matter what the Yankees were going to do that year. Even if they won the World Series, Joe Girardi, in my opinion, would have been gone. I think the Yankees were ready to move on from him regardless. But the Yankees were a fun, young team with a lot of never say die guys who came through in clutch situations. That was like the year that Judge really, really came through when he needed to. And their pitching they didn't have the most dominant starting pitching. But one thing's for certain is that when we got to the postseason, that team really, really was locked in and loaded. And they did run into a Astros team that, you know, whether you want to say, you know, what the obvious thing is, they did end up losing, and they did have a 3-2 lead. They had 2 opportunities to win, and they didn't. I think it's fair to say that if the Yankees had gotten to the World Series, I think they would have won it. I think that they were better than the Dodgers, and that would have been the first Yankee team, in my opinion, that people would have been okay seeing win a World Series.
Right.
Because again, you had Gary Sanchez, who I think that was honestly his best year. No doubt. but he did struggle in the postseason. Not a surprise. You had Aaron Judge. You had, I don't think, was Glaber on the team by that point? I think
he was, yeah.
But anyway, you had him. You had obviously, no, Glaber came the next year. Because remember, he finished second and he finished, third in the rookie of the year voting. You had Todd Frazier, who made it fun to be a Yankee. You had Andrew McCutchen, who made it fun to be a Yankee. I mean, you had guys that were veterans that made it fun. You still had CC Sabathia. You still had Masahiro Tanaka. I mean, you had a team that did not give up. In my opinion, Hal Steinbrenner ruined this team. This team is worse than they were in 2017. They are worse. They are not fun to watch. They are boring as hell. And they're predictable as well. Super predictable. And I think Hal Steinbrenner is not even close to the person that the late George Steinbrenner was. Steinbrenner.
No, absolutely.
George Steinbrenner cared primarily about winning. He wanted the Yankees to be the most dominant franchise in all of baseball. He wanted the Yankees to go out and kick everyone's ass on a day-to-day basis.
Yep.
Like, it didn't matter who they played. If they were playing the last place Devil Rays, he wanted them to win by 30 runs. Like, he wanted them to be dominant. And I'll tell you this right now, if George Steinbrenner was still alive and well and the Yankees were having this much trouble, Aaron Boone would have been fired by now. He would have been fired as manager. And look, Aaron Boone is a puppet anyway. He's not really the one making these moves that you're seeing. These head-scratching decisions, these are moves based off of Hal Steinbrenner and ownership telling him to do so.
Right.
And the prime example, and I know it's like beating a dead horse, but I'll say it anyway. Tyler Wade gets way more opportunities to play than he should. And he hasn't really done anything. And they say, oh, he hit a home run. So what? So freaking what? Like, he's not even the fastest guy on this team. Old Brett Gardner is faster than him, in my opinion. And the Yankees have
and people really want Brett Gardner gone. Come on, I get it. I
get it.
I get it.
Brett
Gardner is not having a great year with the bat. I get it, but defensively, come on now.
Well, there's no question.
Still run the base paths.
There's no question that Brett Gardner plays well in the field. So does Mike Tauchman. There's no question about it.
Absolutely, yes.
But if you want to talk about a guy who should be playing above both of them, it's clearly Clint Frazier. Now that Clint Frazier's gotten his fielding down pat, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. I have a lot of things to say on this whole subject because I have a lot of discussions with my family who obviously they're all Yankee fans. And we even have a group chat called Villa Yankees. I think it's like Villa Yankees, I think, or something like that.
Nice.
But the Yankees have not been fun since 2017. They haven't even been enjoyable to watch since 2017. You can't go into a season right now feeling confident because you realize that the Yankees have a bunch of guys that are some of the worst hitters in all of baseball. I mean, they are just putrid. Aaron Hicks, awful. Gary Sanchez, I don't have to say anything more. I'm done trying to prove my point. Because my point is being proven every single day he's playing. Mike Tauchman Tauchman's not the same as he was last year. No. He might be a one-year wonder, to be very frank. Luke Voit is a better two-hitter than Aaron Judge. Is a much better two-hitter. If you really, really, honestly and truly wanted to have Voit early in the lineup, just bat him second.
Yep.
Okay? Like, let's not – make it DJ, Voit, and Judge. You just do that. That's fine. Gio Urshela, not bad. Pretty good. He's come through he's come through in some good situations. I give him that.
Yes.
He's still a fine fielder. Okay, no question about it. Glaber, I think now that he's considered to be like, one of the best players in the game. I think he's starting to falter under the pressure. I think that's what you're seeing this year. Obviously, he got hurt, but before he got hurt, you could see he's just not hitting the ball, just flat out not hitting the ball.
Right.
Brett Gardner. Gardner should be used like the Astros used Carlos Beltran in 2017. Just don't play him very much because, you can put him in a defensive situation, and I would not have an issue with it. But if you give him 3-4 bats a game, he's just not coming through. He's just a predictable out in many ways. Let's talk about Clint Frazier, Miguel Andujar for a second. Clint Frazier is arguably the best hitter on this team. And I know he's obviously been struggling of late, but I think it's because pitchers are starting to realize that he struggles with pitches inside.
Yeah.
They go fastballs and off-speed inside, and he doesn't hit them well. When he first came up, they were literally just giving it to him either down the middle or outside, and he was crushing it. He still is a productive, out in many regards. He still hits the ball very well, even if he's making outs.
Right.
He has the quickest bat speed of any player in baseball I have seen. He has really good speed, and his fielding is a lot better than what it once was. Newsflash, Clint Frazier is your future in the outfield. Not Tauchman, certainly not Gardner, and damn sure not Aaron Hicks. You have Aaron Judge and Clint Frazier, who should be in the outfield all day, every day, because they are two of your main guys. And I know that the Yankees were interested in bringing in Lance Lynn. I don't know what the difference between 2018 and this year would have been, but I know the Yankees. I know that the Texas Rangers wanted Clint Frazier, and Cashman said no. That was the right decision, because if they had traded him, I would have given up, because Clint Frazier is better than half of the guys on this team. And I think a lot of Yankee fans just don't want to admit that, because Clint Frazier is not a homegrown talent. He's a guy that we acquired. We acquired from Cleveland for Miller, if you remember, a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
People forget that. Let's talk about Andujar. And I know people are going to get tired of me trying to defend this guy, because obviously he's not having a good year, clearly. But I want everybody to understand something.
And he's also hurt right now.
Is he?
I think he is.
No, he's not. He got sent down.
Oh, no. Yeah, right. Yeah. My bad.
The Yankees ruined Miguel Andujar in many ways. They ruined him in many regards. Number one, when Andujar first came up, he did something that no other Major League player had ever done in their debut. I think he had something like 3 doubles, something like 5 RBIs, and then he got sent down like after the game. That's clearly not that was not a Joe Girardi decision in no regard. If Joe Girardi was really in charge and made the moves, Andujar would have been playing a lot more.
Yep.
That's just the way I look at it. Andujar was better than Gleyber and Ohtani in 2018. That was BS.
And
because Ohtani was this,
he should have won Rookie of the Year.
Because Ohtani was this, he can pitch and he can hit. We got to give it to him. And also, Major League Baseball wasn't thrilled that 2 of the best 3 rookies in the American League were Yankees. There's clearly a distaste for Major League Baseball for the Yankees, and understandably so. There's no question about it. I mean, there is no question about it. I'm not arguing that one bit, okay? But you do have to give credit where credit is due. It is unfortunate for Andujar that he got hurt early on last season, and whether you want to say it's unfortunate or not, Gio came on the scene and did very well.
Right.
Gio has not done as well as he did last year, but he's still a tremendous fielder.
Right.
No
Absolutely.
Question. The Yankees don't want to give up on Andujar, so what do they decide to do? Let's make him an outfielder. He's made a lot of bad decisions in the outfield. You know why? Because he's not a goddamn outfielder.
Exactly.
And I'm tired of Yankee fans giving him so much crap for it. It's like he's not an outfielder. He never has. He never will. Oh, and by the way, the first and only time you played him at third base, he didn't make a single mistake. It's amazing what happens when you put a guy in a position that he's been playing his entire career and he knows how to play.
So then maybe what they should do, if they're actually smart, is you could flip-flop Urshela and make him a DH at one point and put Andujar at third, or you can make Andujar a DH, put Urshela at third. I don't see what's so difficult about that. I really don't see what's the difficult decision here.
The Yankees have too many problems.
Keep sending him down, get rid of him. There's no point anymore.
there's this old saying that you could say, oh, it's good to have this problem. No, it's really not good to have this problem. It's not, because I'm not, and look, first of all, I'm not mad at Gio Urshela for doing what he's done. I'm very happy with Gio Urshela, okay? Like, I really am. There is something that the Yankees don't like about Andujar. There is clearly something that they don't like about him, because they've given him very few opportunities to play this year. They clearly don't want him to play for whatever reason. Now, again, I know Andujar has struggled mightily at the plate, but you have to look at it from the mental standpoint and the human aspect from Andujar's perspective. This man has so much pressure on himself because he knows that he's not being given very many opportunities. So he's squeezing the bat tighter than he normally would because he's trying to do big things. If Andujar doesn't have a big game every time he comes up to every time he gets a chance to play, he's easily either going to get benched or sent down. That's just how it goes with him nowadays. And that's unfair to him, because he's a very talented player, but his stock has dropped down so dramatically that he's probably not worth that much anymore.
Yep.
And that's so unfair. And Andujar is not even 25 yet. And Andujar still has the ability to be a very good and very long-term major league player. I believe Gio Urshela is a free agent at the end of this year, I want to say. I think.
Stand by. I'll
I know Yankee fans are not going to want to hear this. I understand it. I understand your frustration. But I don't think the Yankees should keep Gio Urshela.
Ooh.
I think that Andujar is younger. You could still develop him. And if you give him more at-bats and more of an opportunity to play, he'll get back to that same form. I believe that. I've seen it. I've seen him get opportunities. And he's made the most of them. In many regards, not this year, obviously, but he has very few. I think he's only had something like 22 at-bats the entire year. This man has not been given very much of a chance. So the Yankees have to make a choice with him. You either let him go or you give him more opportunities. If you really think he's that high on this team, if you consider him to be one of your long-term future assets, start playing him. And move on from Gio. You know, Gio is almost, what? Gio's 28, 29?
28, yeah. And by the way, to answer your question about free agency for him, he will be a restricted free agent after this year. He'll be an unrestricted free agent effective in 2024, I believe. I
think that the Yankees will I think they should let him go. I really do. And that's no knock on Gio. It really isn't. Okay? I'm not saying that Gio doesn't deserve to be on this team or be a starter in Major League Baseball. He does. But if you're talking about your future, at least that's what Cashman said yesterday.
And
talk about your future, Clint Frazier, Jordan Montgomery to a lesser extent, Miguel Andujar, Thairo Estrada, Judge, Gleyber, they are your damn future. They are the future of this team. I said it before.
Estrada's looked pretty good.
And Estrada's been good when he's been given the opportunity. He has, in many regards. The Yankees have done a piss-poor job of allowing their young players to develop the way they need to be developed because they don't care. Hal Steinbrenner does not care whether the Yankees win or not. He doesn't care. He is more of a typical sports owner that cares squarely about the bottom line. You know, because if he cared about winning, he would be going over the luxury tax every single time.
Yeah, he would.
To win. Okay? That's what Steinbrenner, that's what George Steinbrenner did all the time. Didn't matter. Didn't matter who it was. He wanted to bring them in because he wanted to freaking win. Oh, and let's talk about the last time the Yankees were the dominant franchise of Major League Baseball. And I'm not talking about 2009. I'm talking about the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yep.
The main core of that team, you know how they got to the Yankees? Because they were drafted and developed by the Yankees. Derek Jeter, Andy Pettitte, Mariano Rivera, Jorge Posada. Those guys were drafted and brought in through the system. Also, the Yankees had a lot of guys on that team who understood what it took to win. Bunting, coming through in timely situations. not focusing on hitting the home run. The Yankees, in many regards, have also bought into their own hype. They believe that they can just out home run every single team. Let's just state a fact, by the way, that the Dodgers just broke a National League record for most home runs in a month.
Oh.
They hit something like 59 or something like that, something ridiculous.
They're just too good right now, man. These Dodgers.
Also, they play in a very weak division.
What?
We have to remember this. They play against a bunch of very weak teams.
Oh, yeah.
They play the NL and AL West, which doesn't have that many really good teams. So let's keep that in mind. But anyway, the Yankees have an issue. And the issue is squarely that they don't have timely hitters. I want everyone to shut up about the fact that you want to say, oh, the Yankees starting pitching isn't that good. No, it actually is.
It's actually been solid.
Let me explain. The Yankees, on average, starting pitching-wise, give up about 2, 3, 4 runs a game.
Right.
If the Yankees are as good as much as they say they are, you shouldn't be worried about that. People were panicking when Garrett Cole gave up a 2-run home run last night in the first inning. It's 2-0.
Yeah, the G-Man show who's been a Yankee.
The hell down. Also, let's talk about Garrett Cole for a second. As I mentioned before, Garrett Cole is and always will be a home run pitcher. He gives up a home run per game. Just like Tanaka. If anybody's watched enough, Tanaka does the same damn thing.
Yep, he does.
But nobody talks about it. But because Garrett Cole is supposed to be this god, everybody's mad and thinks, oh, he's overrated. No, he's not.
No, he's not.
Because here is the simple thing that I have said numerous times on here, and I'll say it again. The ball is not going to travel as far and as deep in October than it is right now. It's just not going to. That's why the Yankees haven't been able to out home run teams in the playoffs, because it just doesn't. The ball doesn't go as far because of the weather, because of the air. I know this sounds like analytical BS, but it's not. It's simple. It's simple, really. It's baseball.
They're facts, actually.
It's all about coming through in the timely situation. Gary Sanchez, for the first time, God knows how long, actually came through in a clutch situation.
He had a pinch hit grand slam against the
Mets. Grand slam. But do you think I'm going to believe that he can do that in October? Hell the frick no. He will strike out because that's just what he does. He must lead all catchers in strikeouts. There's no way nobody else has struck out more than him as a catcher. But going back to Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole is fine, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
He's fine. Is he mad that he hasn't pitched as dominant as he would like? Of course. But guess what? Would it kill you to get a couple runs and help him the hell out?
Thank you!
But of course, then let's go to what everybody wants to use as an excuse. Oh, Judge is out. Oh, Stanton is out. Oh, Gleyber is out. I could have sworn that last year the Yankees won over 100 games with mostly guys that weren't their main guys.
Yep.
If I'm Judge was out for a long time. Stanton was out basically the whole year.
And they won 103 games.
And they won 103 games.
103.
So why are we mad? Why are we complaining about this? Well, what Yankee fans tend to forget and tend to not want to admit is that this team is actually not that good with the bat. They're really not. They're very overrated. I mean, Tauchman barely can hit. Gardner sucks. Hicks, again, $70 million over 7 years. Are you on drugs?
That's not looking.
You on drugs? Aaron Hicks constantly pops up. He's Mr. Pop Up. He can't hit. Sanchez. I cannot wait for the day that the Yankees finally give up on him and move away from him because Eric Kratz is better than him.
Oh, yeah.
So what does Sanchez have that people want to say is good? He has a good arm. Great. but he still can't block a passed ball. He single-handedly lost 2 games against the Mets on his own. Erik Kratz, at least, even if he doesn't have the world's greatest arm and he's old as dirt.
He's 41!
At least he doesn't make consistent mistakes every time he's behind the plate. And then let's talk about the hitting, because that's the real important.
But hold on a second. One more thing about Erik Kratz before you continue.
I love Erik Kratz.
When David Garcia was on the mound making his major league debut, did you see the chemistry that those two had already?
That's the
type of guy that Erik Kratz is.
Yeah,
and,
Erik Kratz is a professional.
The sad thing is, when Higashioka comes back from injury, Kratz is probably going to be gone. And that shouldn't be the case because, I'm sorry.
Higashioka is going to be gone.
Again, Higashioka is going to be gone.
As long as Erik Kratz is playing this well, dude, they're not going to.
I don't know, but they're
not going to move on from
That's another argument for another day. Go ahead. You were talking about the hitting next.
Gary Sanchez is the worst hitter I have ever seen in my life. And you have to remember, the Yankees also have Stanton, who also is really, really bad. Okay? Now, he got off to a good start this year, but he has done that every year with the Yankees. He gets off to a blazing start and then just disappears.
And then cools down like crazy.
He was cooling down before he got hurt. So let's do it. And Aaron Judge. Actually, let me finish my point with Sanchez before I talk about Aaron Judge.
Go ahead.
Sanchez is overrated. He has a bad attitude. He doesn't care that much about getting any better. And the Yankees don't want, and the Yankees are not trying to make him any better. He has the slowest swing I've ever seen. He can't hit a fastball. If you throw a fastball up in the zone, neck high, 9 times out of 10, Sanchez is going to swing at it and miss. 9 times out of 10. There's no question in my mind that's what you'll see. Sanchez needs to go. He's overrated. The Yankees have he's not gotten any better. His stats, his batting average is putrid. His fielding is piss poor. His arm is the only thing that's been consistent. I'm sorry, but I hope that Yankee fans finally come to terms and realize that Sanchez is a waste of time. He really is. I would rather have Erik Kratz and Kyle Higashioka than Gary Sanchez. I would.
At this point, I would too.
And I'm glad that you finally agree and you're starting to see what I've seen for 2 years now. Forget 2 years, 3 years, honestly. Because he doesn't, he might hit 35 home runs. That's awesome. But he'll bat well below the Mendoza line in the regular season.
And
he'll come up even smaller in the postseason. This is just something we see. He's an easy out. The Yankees are super predictable. And they still want to bat Sanchez in the 5th spot. Right. He should be batting 9th until I see fit. Gary Sanchez needs to not only not play, he needs to be benched for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. This man needs to understand that he is supposed to be part of the future of this team. He's not acting like it. He's not trying to get better. That's the way I look at it. I don't know him personally, and I'm not going to pretend like I do. But from the way I see him act at the plate and in the field, I don't think he cares that much. I don't think he feels the need to get better. And the Yankees are acting like they don't. But you know what? That brings me back to I don't think the Yankees coaches have any say in developing or making this team better. I think that it all comes from the top with Hal Steinbrenner. I think Hal Steinbrenner doesn't want to get to the point where he has to pay a whole lot for these guys. He may pay a lot for Judge, but only because he'd be an idiot not to. But Sanchez has to go. He's just bad. He's very, very bad. Now, lastly, with Judge. I think Judge is a fine baseball player. I think he is. But there's something wrong with the fact that every year he's playing fewer and fewer and fewer games. If you look at the last 3 years, it's gotten worse and worse and worse. We don't even really know when Judge is coming back this time. We don't even know. I think Judge and Stanton have both hurt themselves in the same way. They're big individuals who feel like they need to put on constant muscle, but they're not in baseball shape. They're in weightlifting shape, no doubt. But in baseball shape, you don't have to be this muscular, jacked up Jose Canseco looking like baseball player. You don't have to be that way.
Right.
If DJ LeMahieu isn't that way, and the man hits well over 300.
He's batting over 400 right now.
And he's batting over 400. So, I don't know what so I don't think Judge is going to be should get the money that everybody thinks that he should, because he hasn't proven that he can stay healthy. You really think the Yankees are going to feel comfortable giving him all the money in the world for a guy that just can't stay on the
getting hurt like this? Hell no.
It'll be just like A-Rod. It'll be A-Rod all over again.
Yep.
Stanton is A-Rod all over again.
Pretty much.
So I like Judge. I really do. I think he's a consummate pro. He's the face of this franchise. The Yankees should pay him, but don't go nuts.
Right.
Because you have to make him prove it. You have to say to him, Judge, we want to give you all the money. We really do. But we just can't because you can't stay healthy. You need to prove to us that you could stay healthy. Because if you don't, I'm sorry, but we have to do what's in best interest of the team. If you and everybody will get mad and say, oh, how could the Yankees do this? Well, if you've watched closely enough, you'll say, you know what? He's gotten hurt every year. He's played less and less games. And even in the postseason, he hasn't been that good. Oh, and let's talk about Judge's batting for a second, because his fielding is not an issue.
Right.
Let's not even Aaron Judge swings and misses at the pitch on an off-speed pitch, low and outside, every single time. And do you see the Yankees trying to make him better? Do you see them trying to get – No. What does that tell you? People upstairs don't want – are not interested in that, which is a problem, because if you helped him and he didn't swing at that, he'd become that much better of a hitter and that much harder to pitch against. Do you know why it's hard to pitch against DJ LeMahieu? Because he doesn't have any weaknesses. Because he's probably worked on those things on his own. He probably recognizes it and says, I got to get better at this. And that's the thing. Aaron Judge needs to stop swinging at the pitch low and outside. Same thing with Stanton. With Sanchez, it's easy. Just just throw a pitch down the middle. He'll probably swing and miss because he's that slow at reacting to it. I mean, it's happened so many times. Now, a broken clock is right twice a day, and he'll have a situation like he had against the Mets a couple days ago. But, that's the Yankees don't have timely hitting on this team. They haven't had it since 2017, and they don't want to have it. And if they keep doing this, Yankee fans, I'm sorry, it's going to take another decade before they even come close to winning a World Series again. I mean, this is the facts on the ground. Their bullpen is fine. Just relax. Everybody chill the hell out, okay? Have they had that many games where they completely blew up? No. But everybody wants to say that because they keep losing games. Now, here's another thing. The Yankees are the worst team in baseball when it comes to these 7-inning games because they treat them like a 9-inning game. So here's an example. Here's 2 examples for you. Remember when J.A. Happ pitched against the Mets a couple days ago? And he went 6 damn innings of one-hit ball?
Yep.
What did the Yankees do? They decided to put in, I think it was Chad Green. I could be wrong. I don't remember who they put. No, it was Ottavino. They put in Ottavino.
Yeah.
What did Ottavino do?
He gives up a home run.
He gave the Mets the lead.
Yep.
If I was J. Happ, I would have fought Adam Ottavino in the dugout for that. Because, actually, I would have fought Aaron Boone because I would have said, I'm pitching great. We have a chance to have our bullpen have a game off because we're playing a doubleheader, by the way. Let me finish the damn inning. Let me finish the game. I only have 86 pitches. Nope. This decision was made weeks ago that in these 7-inning games, nobody was going to pitch the whole time. Deivi Garcia, Major League debut. He's a damn stud on the mound.
Oh, my God.
He pitched, 5 innings?
I thought it was 6.
6 or whatever the hell. The Yankees still nearly lost the game.
Yep.
They should have just kept him in. But they didn't. Oh, and then they send him down. Why? No reason. No reason. It was so stupid. It was
but yet they're saying he's probably going to start again in a doubleheader they have against Baltimore. Then why'd you send him down?
Whoop. Like, wonderful. Does it suck not to have Tommy Kahnle? Yeah, but guess what? Tommy Kahnle wasn't pitching all that great anyway when he was playing this year. So
fair.
We're missing something here. The bullpen is not that big of a deal. But the problem really is that you put these guys in a situation where they have a very little chance to succeed. And they're not motivated. This game is all about emotion, ladies and gentlemen. And that is why the Yankees have sucked the past couple weeks. They treated the Rays like nothing. They were like, oh, it's just the Rays will kick their ass.
No.
Dude.
No.
So they're not motivated.
Neil,
so they weren't motivated.
Neil, I'm sorry to cut you off, but what have I said about the Tampa Bay Rays? They are a pesky team. They have always been a thorn in the Yankees side for the past couple of years. And this year, they're on top of the AL East, and rightfully so, because they are still a thorn in the Yankees side, and they're better than them right now. That's just fact.
They've been a pesky side to the Yankees since 2008. This is just a known fact. They've been a team that the Yankees just don't do well against since 2008. The Yankees, as they do with most teams, they underestimated the Rays. The Rays, they're not that talented. They don't have any all-stars on their team. This is clear. This is clear. But what do? What is their formula? It's pretty simple. It's what every coach should do. You take the players that you have, and you play a certain way that is beneficial to the team that you have. So the Rays don't have a lot of big-name guys, all-stars, whatever you want to say. But they have a team that can constantly come through in timely situations. Exactly. And that's what they do. They do this. Now, you mentioned the starting pitching. The Rays, more than any other team, use an opener. They're using an opener today. They do it most of the time. They only have maybe 2-3 starting pitchers technically on their team. You have Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, who looked like the second coming of Nolan Ryan last night. Oh, my God. And you have Charlie Morton, who's probably going to pitch Game 3.
He is. He's going up against Montgomery.
The Rays have had so many injuries to their pitching than any team in baseball this year. Do you know what their record is in the last 22 games?
Like 18-3.
19 and 3.
19-3.
19-3. And this is not just against the Yankees. It's against a bunch of other teams they played.
And they were off to a 6-8 start.
So I don't want to hear anymore that the Rays are not a good team. They are good because of the system that they play in. It's a system based on the team that they have. Kevin Cash, the manager of the Rays, and that organization understood this is the way that they're capable of playing baseball, and we're going to do it. And they're in the Yankees' head. They're in the Yankees' head. The Yankees, they're not motivated. They're not emotionally there. Aaron Boone needs to have a team meeting and get these guys fired up and say, we need to win this series. We need to beat this team so we can get back into first place. Nope. And you can see it also, it's indicative of the lineups that they put out there. What is Tyler Wade going to do against anybody half the time? He's going to strike out or pop up. That's all he does because he's not that good. Gary Sanchez, it doesn't matter who the hell you have on the mound. You could have Kevin Kiermaier on the mound and he'll strike out Gary Sanchez.
Yep.
I mean, that's how bad He is. This game is all about emotion, man. Really is. It's about good pitching and timely hitting. The Yankees have good pitching, but everybody wants to say that's the excuse.
No.
But it's not. It shouldn't be an excuse. The excuse, not even an excuse. The problem is that the Yankees don't have timely hitting. And people want to say, oh, well, the Yankees won 3 straight against the Mets. They barely put up any runs.
Yeah, exactly.
They barely, and the Mets did it to themselves because it's the Mets.
Yep.
The Mets did that to themselves. The Yankees didn't win those games. The Mets lost them.
Yep.
That was what it was. Let's just call it like it is. The Yankees should have gotten swept by the Mets in all 5 games. Should have gotten absolutely swept.
Mm.
And if they did, we would be at a 10-game losing streak right now.
Yep.
We'd be in double digits. Isn't that awesome?
Ugh.
Isn't that awesome? But, of course, the Yankees will not realize the damn problem. And they'll just say, oh, we'll wait till Judge and all those guys come back. It'll be too little too late by that point. And I don't want to hear about, oh, it's because of a shortened season, blah, blah, blah. Look, if this was happening in a 162-game season, we may not be as upset. We might say, okay, we got a lot of games played. This year is a sprint, not a marathon. And I said it before the season started. Whoever is the most ready to go, the first game, that's who's going to have the success. So, San Diego, Oakland, Tampa, they were ready to go when the season started. The Yankees looked like it at first, but they're not.
Mm.
And they still have the same problems, and Yankee fans will continue to ignore those problems because they just want to say, oh, we have this great team with all these home run hitters because chicks dig the long ball.
Oh.
Guess what? How many World Series have the Yankees won hitting the long ball? How many World Series have they gone to hitting the long ball? The answer is a big, fat 0. They have not gotten anywhere near the World Series doing this. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. And Hans Steinbrenner is the biggest reason to blame because he doesn't care about winning. He's not trying to make this team better. Now, let me just say this last thing.
Sure.
Okay? You said specifically that you were upset that Cashman didn't make a move, correct?
I did not. I didn't say those exact words.
You said, what is he doing?
Well, that.
I'll give you the answer. He's doing the right thing because the Yankees don't need anything. They don't need anything. They need to get their head out of their own ass and realize that they have to come through in these timely situations and get emotionally psyched to play every single game. But they're not doing that. This is not something that we could just go and trade for Francisco Lindor and all of a sudden our prayers are answered. This is not something that we can go and get Mike Clevinger or freaking Lance Lynn and we're somehow a better team. In many regards, we would have been worse because apparently the Rangers were looking to try to get a combination of Clint Frazier, Deivi Garcia, and Clark Schmidt. Dude, if the Yankees had made that trade, they would have been the dumbest, most sucker team I have ever seen.
Yeah.
And it would have been a classic, let's get rid of our young talent. Let's just get these old-ass players to try to make a run. Let's stop praising the Padres, by the way, because they have given up a crap load of their future to make one run. If they don't do anything this year, it's going to hurt them. It is going to hurt them. Okay? The only move that I was okay with out of all the moves they made was probably the Mitch Moreland deal. Mike Clevinger, what you gave up for Mike Clevinger was ridiculous. Was absolutely ridiculous. But the Padres, they just want to try to make a run because they think that they have a legitimate shot of winning the World Series. Good for them. And if they do it, great. But after this year, they're not going to be that good. Just watch. So let's say it. Cashman did the right thing. He wanted to try to make a move. He saw that everybody wanted those big name guys that we mentioned, and Cashman knew that he can't do that because it's their future. So he didn't do anything. And everybody wants to say, oh, the Yankees needed starting pitching. For the love of God, no, they don't. And what do you think Lance Lynn is going to do? And you also wanted Taijuan Walker? Taijuan Walker isn't that good.
No.
Are you kidding me? I mean, really? Mike Clevinger is okay, but he's an idiot because he decided to break the rules about quarantine.
And the fact that Trevor Bauer was in the conversation too. I mean, come on, really?
Okay, Trevor Bauer would have been okay.
Well,
would have been okay.
But even still,
But you don't need starting pitching. You didn't need to go out and get bullpen help. I mean, you got a little bit from the freaking Phillies, which I'm amazed they wanted to take somebody from the Phillies, considering how piss poor their bullpen. You want to talk about a bad bullpen?
Oh,
go watch a Phillies game, and you will sit there and say, "Damn, they suck." Oh, and by the way, the Yankees made a deal with the Phillies, and who did the Yankees give up?
Didi Gregorius.
No. Who was the pitcher that we all saw? David Hale.
Yes, David
You know
Hale.
what David Hale did on Sunday in his first game as a Philly? Do you know what he did? He gave up 5 freaking runs.
Yep.
He sucked. But it's all, hey, look, the Yankees, it's fine. You know why people used to say, even just last year, the Yankees had the best bullpen in baseball? You want to know why they said that? It's because most teams' bullpens suck.
Yep.
They suck. But the difference is that the Yankees were winning so many games, 10-5 and stuff like that you didn't even notice it. So, of course, people want to say that. But now that the Yankees are not scoring a lot of runs and the bullpen may give up 2 or 3 runs, everybody wants to say that the Yankees' bullpen is the worst in baseball. Bro, they're one of the top. Bro, the Yankees are one of the top 5 bullpens in Major League Baseball. Okay? They do. Because nobody's bullpen is good. Nobody's. Not a single one. So their bullpen's not a problem. Their offense is freaking putrid. And I don't care about the fact that Gleyber and Judge and Stanton are all out right now. I don't care about that because this team won 103 games with a bunch of those guys out anyway last year.
Yep.
And they were coming through in timely situations. The Yankees don't come through when it matters most. They haven't done it since 2017, and they're not showing any signs that they're going to. They will get swept by the Tampa Bay Rays. They will lose today, they will lose tomorrow, and they will be 6-7 games behind, and they will not catch up. They will not catch up. They are going – I honestly would rather see the Yankees miss the playoffs this year. I would be happy to see them miss the playoffs. And I'll tell you why. Because maybe, just maybe – by the grace of God, that it might dawn on I keep saying Cashman, but it's not Cashman.
Hal Steinbrenner.
Like, you know what? Maybe some of the guys we have are not as good as we thought. Maybe we should try to, make some moves to kind of bring in some guys who actually know how to hit, But the Yankees haven't given me any signs that they will ever do that. But that is my 45-minute filibuster on the real issues with the New York Yankees.
Yes. So we apologize for both of us kind of rambling on, but we're just that.
I'm not apologizing for anything.
We're just that frustrated with this team right now. And we really do hope that they can get their heads out of their asses, but at this point, it doesn't look that promising. It really. And
also, can we all say this real quick as well?
Sure.
It doesn't matter who the manager is of this team. It doesn't. Joe Girardi could have won 100-plus games with this team.
Yep.
He could have done the same thing.
Yep.
All these guys are puppets. They don't have much control. They don't have much say in these lineups. They don't. Because any baseball person with half a brain would know, okay, batting Luke Voit leadoff doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially since he's been hitting the ball really well, hitting a home run. But everybody loves the on-base percentage now because that's really just like this awesome new statistic. Go screw yourself. I mean, really. Like, it's all about timely hitting, and I'm not wild about having guys on this team that can't even hit their weight. So,
yeah.
It's a joke.
Yep. Yep. The whole thing's a joke. The team's
Also,
frustrating.
I deserve credit for the fact that I've been hyping up Clint Frazier before he was doing well this year. So,
yes, you do.
So maybe, just maybe, Yankee fans, I may know a little bit about what the hell I'm talking about.
yes, you do. And like I said, play him every day. Let him show his potential. Just maybe, if you're smart, you'll do that. But
maybe they're showcasing him for starting pitching.
Stop yourself.
No, I've heard people say that nonsense.
So have I. It's ridiculous. But real quickly here, since we've went on a whole hour spiel about the Yankees, real quick. Meanwhile, like I mentioned with the Mets, who are crosstown rivals, I mentioned that they're also slightly better than the Yankees because at least the Mets have guys that can come up in clutch situations and can actually hit. Hence, for example, Robinson Cano, who has been killing the Yankees as of late. You also have
guys in general.
Like,
what do you mean just against the Yankees? Been killing it in general.
Well, yeah, no, that's true. You also have guys like Jeff McNeil, J.D. Davis, Brandon Nimmo, Billy Hamilton, Ahmed Rosario, Dominic Smith, who's having a phenomenal season. Okay?
Awesome.
Now, look, I've never been worried about the Mets pitching.
Why would you ever?
Exactly.
Why would you ever?
But Jacob deGrom, who, by the way, had I don't want to say bad game, but he did have a 2-0 lead, gave it up to the Marlins, and I'm like,
Isn't it incredible, by the way, that the Mets nearly beat the Yankees 5 straight games without Jacob deGrom?
Exactly. And by the way, as we stand right now,
no, I'm
the
good.
Mets are...
I'm sitting. I'm not standing, by the way.
What?
I'm sitting, not standing.
It's fine. The Mets, as we stand right now, are 15-20, 5.5 games back of the division. The Braves are in first at 20-14.
How far are they behind in the division?
It says right now they are 5.5 games.
God, that division sucks.
It
sucks. No, the NL East is a joke.
No, it does. And the fact that the Marlins are a 500 team amazes me. It really, really does. I don't know how they're 500 with the team that they have, but I digress. But the Mets, you look at them and you say, you know what? The Mets might actually know what to do. Oh, and by the way, Steve Cohen is officially the lone bidder now for the Mets. So Will Ponce might have to say see you later soon because Steve Cohen might. He's pretty much going to take over. You pretty much have new ownership at this point. So you look at the Mets and you're like, oh, wait, they might actually know what the heck they're doing because, hey, we got a good team on the field and on paper because, hey, they can actually hit. That's my point. So do I still have a few questions about the Mets as far as health is concerned? Yeah, primarily Yoenis Cespedes, but that's another conversation for another day.
Yoenis Cespedes isn't even on the team.
I understand that. He opted out, but he still can't stay healthy, but I digress about that.
Cool.
Edwin Diaz, as terrible as he's been.
Oh, he has been garbage.
Oh my God.
Mets just look more and more idiotic for even trying to get
deal. That's the deal that is going to haunt Brody Van
Wagner. Isn't it ironic that they had to take on Robinson Cano's bad contract in order to get Edwin Diaz, and Robinson Cano has been the better player?
Yes, he has.
Isn't that ironic?
Yes, it is very ironic.
Since technically Cano is making, I think he may be making more money than Edwin Diaz.
Yes.
I mean, I would get rid of Edwin Diaz and keep Cano.
Exactly.
I was the Mets.
And Uris Familia, I mean, I still don't think he's that good, but he's been this year. He's been I mean, he's been better than Edwin Diaz. I'll say that much. But bottom line, the Mets. I don't have any questions. I don't have any hard-hitting questions about the Mets. I really, really don't, because at least they have guys that can actually hit in timely situations when it counts most.
Unless you're a Mets fan. I mean, let's be fair. I mean, if you're a Mets fan, you probably have a lot more to say.
Right.
I'm sure there's frustration. I mean, clearly there was frustration.
Oh, by the way, you still have Michael Conforto. So there's another thing.
Yeah, who's the best player? Michael Conforto's the best player on the team.
Yes, he is.
He's the best player by far.
Yes.
Because, look, Pete Alonso's a home run hitter. That's all he does.
Yep.
He gets like 235 and he hits 50 dingers.
Yep.
So, I mean, and look, chicks dig the long ball, but Michael Conforto hits well over 300 and is an all-around really good player. In the field with the bat, he's very good. And I knew the Mets had something with him when he got called up in the middle of 2015 when they made the run to the World Series. I knew they had something in him. And by the way, the Mets did reacquire Todd Frazier from the Texas Rangers. So I think the reason they did that was because if you remember, J.D. Davis left I think it was the second game of the second doubleheader. Yes. He got hurt, and he's usually their third baseman. It may be that J.D. Davis might be out for a while. So I think they got Todd Frazier to play third base, which is good because Todd Frazier, I thought he was good as a Met. And he likes playing with the Mets. So I think it's going to be, it'll be like he never left, basically.
Right.
Because wasn't he on the team last year?
He was, yeah.
Yeah, so he took like a 6-month vacation from New York and then came back.
Pretty much, yeah.
But, yeah, the Mets are fine. The Mets are just kind of like where they are. It's like they're not terrible. They're not great either, but they're solid, and they can make a run. And, guys, everybody, calm the hell down about the Mets. Like, guys, relax. The Mets are not – okay, look, I know I said the Mets were going to the World Series this year. I know I said that. I'm aware of that, okay? I'm aware of that. Did I give up on that? Of course I did. I'm not jumping back on it either. So just take that into consideration. Just understand the fact that, they beat up on a hapless Yankee team.
Yep.
Okay? They didn't this wasn't the Yankees of old. They beat up on a hapless Yankee team, and they lost yesterday to the Marlins.
Yep.
So they went back to their BS. And they did choke away 3 games. They should have won.
Yep.
They should have won all 5 games against the Yankees. But they choked it away themselves. Classic Mets, but that's just how it is. Anyway, the Mets, I think will be fine. I think they could make a legitimate shot at getting into the postseason, maybe as one of the last wild card teams, like the 7th seed or whatever.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they could probably make it. Jacob deGrom is still Jacob deGrom. There's no question about it. Rick Porcello, I thought has been very solid with the Mets. Michael Walker's been okay. Obviously they're not where they were 5 years ago with their starting pitching, but they have Jacob deGrom. Noah Syndergaard obviously is out the whole year. I don't know how much longer the Mets want to hold on to him, but we'll see. But the Mets have a lot of likable players. Jeff McNeil, obviously he's not playing at the same level that he was last year, but he's still relatively productive. Dom Smith, you mentioned. Pete Alonso's kind of gotten cold recently. Brandon Nimmo, I'll be honest with you. I would love to have Nimmo over Tauchman and Gardner.
Oh.
I would. Brandon Nimmo hustles. Even if he hits a pop-up, he runs like full speed.
Even if he walks, he hustles.
Yeah, because this guy is a baseball player. This guy understands what it means to play hard every day. And that's why I think Mets fans love him. Fun fact, by the way, he's a player I've actually met personally. He's a really nice guy if you get the chance to meet him. He really is. He's a super guy. I even took a picture of him. He's a really cool guy. Not as tall as I thought he was. I thought he was taller. Not that tall. I didn't realize that. But no, and he's a very good fielder too. He's just an all-around good player that I think a lot of Mets fans really enjoy. You have Michael Conforto, who I mentioned is the best player on this team. And honestly, everybody likes to have these stupid discussions about, what Mets players are going to eventually be Yankees, which I think is dumb. No. I think Michael Conforto, out of all the guys, would be the only guy that I could see. Honestly. Not via trade, but obviously it would be years from now. But I think the Mets would be dumb not to keep him long-term because he really is that good. Now, if the Wilpons still own the team, we'll see. But interestingly enough, with that ownership, by the way, it looks like it's pretty much a done deal that Steve Cohen will be the newest owner of the – and not only will he own the Mets, I think he basically just bought everything.
Yes, he did.
I think he took SNY too. So the Wilpons, I think, are officially going to be gone within the next month.
Yep.
And for Mets fans, you can't be anything but happy, optimistic as hell, because Steve Cohen publicly said that he's going to spend a shitload of money to make this team better.
Yep.
And I'm excited to see what the Mets could do with Steve Cohen. Now, it's not official yet, so we thought it was official a year ago, Jimmy, if you remember. We thought it was official a year ago, and it fell through at the 13th hour.
Yep.
So let's see what happens there. But, the Mets have a solid bullpen. I don't think it's bad. The Mets have never really had a bad bullpen from what I remember.
Outside of Edwin Diaz.
Yeah, that's for sure. Edwin Diaz, obviously, he's got to go. That man's
Yeah.
And you know what? Good job by Luis Rojas, the manager of the Mets. I mean, look at it this way. He wasn't the first option. Obviously, it was Carlos Beltran, but we all know what happened with that. Luis Rojas literally started from the lowest point you could as a manager, worked his way up through all of the minor leagues to eventually being a bench coach, and now is the manager. This man is prepared to be a manager. This is his opportunity. And I think he's done a pretty decent job considering the circumstances with the COVID-19 and everything. I think also how the Mets responded to the Jacob Blake shooting, with the whole thing with, going out there on the field, being there for 42 seconds and then leaving. I thought that was a very, very good thing by them. But I think Luis Rojas actually is going to end up being the right guy that the Mets hired as manager. I think Brodie Van Wagenen is going to feel really, really positive if Steve Cohen ends up becoming the owner. I don't know if that means Brodie Van Wagenen is going to stay on because, Steve Cohen could just fire him and bring in someone else. I don't know. But I think if you're a Mets fan, there is some reason to be somewhat optimistic about the rest of this year and also just the future, especially if Steve Cohen officially does gets finalized. Yep. Which I think they might do by the end of this year. So I don't really know exactly when that's supposed to be, but from what we saw like less than a week ago, it was pretty much obvious that, A-Rod and J-Lo's group backed out. Joshua Harris, David Blitzer, they also backed out. So pretty much it's Steve Cohen or nobody. And Steve Cohen, I think, already has an agreement to do it. But, only the Mets could have something like this go totally wrong. So you got to wait and see. But
my God.
the Mets are doing okay, and maybe that series against the Yankees, even though it didn't end the way that they would have hoped, will give them some confidence moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I have no issues with the Mets, and if you're a Mets fan, like Neil said, there is a reason for optimism, unlike with our team.
Cautious optimism.
Yes.
Like don't get ahead of yourself because this is the Mets.
Right.
So let's wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we actually go, Neil, do you happen to have a trivia question by any chance?
Yes.
All
Why?
right.
Why? What's it to you? You think I'm going to ask you this question? No, I was going to ask one of those fans that's sitting behind you. That question. But no, I do have a.
It's all you, man. Go ahead.
No doubt. Okay. So because we were talking about the Yankees and the Mets, I thought I'd do like a little Subway trivia for you. A little Subway Series trivia. So we're going to go back to the Subway Series in 2000. Okay?
All right.
So as you know, Game 4 was at City? No, I know it's from City Field.
Shea Stadium.
Was at Shea Stadium, right? And as most Yankee fans and probably Mets fans would like to forget, Derek Jeter led off Game 4 with a home run.
Yes.
Who was the starting pitcher for the Mets that gave up the leadoff home run?
I should know this. Oh my God.
It's not somebody that you would expect.
I should know this. Oh my God. The only guy that pops up to my mind is Al Leiter, but it's not him, I don't think.
It was not Al Leiter.
It's not him.
Al Leiter pitched in the decisive Game 5.
Right. Yes.
And he pitched great, but they still lost.
Oh my God.
I think a lot of Mets fans probably know who this is, especially if you were, conscious during that World Series. I was only about 2, maybe 3 years old.
Regain a little bit of consciousness after
I was
that?
only about 3 years old, so I obviously had to look this up. I didn't know.
So not even you knew the answer until you looked it up.
Well, obviously.
Oh my
You've looked up half the trivia questions you've asked me. I know you have.
Yeah.
So let's relax here.
Who the heck was?
I will give you 3 guesses with this. Just to,
okay.
Yeah, I'll give you 3 because it's not. Because again, it's not like it's not this. Oh, of course it's him type of thing.
Who was the one guy? John Franco?
No.
No. Okay.
No. Good. I mean, that's not bad, but no, it wasn't John Franco. You have 2 guesses left.
Who else was starting for them back then?
Unless you want to count Al Leiter as one of your guesses.
No, I'm not counting that.
We're speaking out loud for that one. So we're not going there.
Oh my god. Part of me feels like I should know this though.
I don't think you should know this, but I could be wrong. Just make some guesses here. Come on.
It's not a big name by any stretch, right?
No.
Not a big name.
No.
Okay.
At least not a big name to like most baseball fans, but I mean he's a big name. He's a big name in history because of what he did.
Because of what he did
in that game. He did give up a leadoff home run.
Bobby Jones?
Wow, there you go. Yeah, that's right, Bobby Jones.
Oh, yes.
Holy crap. Wow. I really didn't think you were going to get that, but
that
good
was
job.
Beautiful.
Well done.
Oh,
yes, Bobby Jones gave up the leadoff home run, and even crazier than that, it was the first pitch of the game.
Wow.
which should be a lesson for all baseball players that usually the first pitch of the game is probably going to be down the middle. You might as well swing at it. If you have a 3-0 count, it's probably going to be down the middle. You might as well swing at it. That's the way I look at it.
Exactly.
Derek Jeter took that to heart and hit a home run.
Yeah.
So, but yes, the answer is Bobby Jones. Well done.
I never
Jimmy, that might be the most impressive job you've done on trivia from my end. That is
I never thought in a million years I would ever get that right.
I'm surprised you even knew who Bobby Jones was. Good on you.
No, it's funny. He was one of the names that popped in my head at first, but then I was thinking Al Leiter, but then I remembered, Al Leiter pitched the next game after that.
Sometimes
I had to really think about who the heck was in the starting rotation that year.
Sometimes you gotta just go with what's in your, like your first answer. Sometimes you gotta go because a lot of time, not all the time, but a lot of time, it's usually either right or pretty close.
Right.
So that was good on you. Well done.
Wow, I didn't think in a million years I'd get that, but wow, that's unbelievable. That was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know
because obviously people know that Derek Jeter did that because it's an iconic moment, but I don't
know who gave it up.
But it's always questions like, who gave it up, or like, what was the pitch count? What was the pitch count? It was the first pitch.
There's no way in hell.
So good job.
Whatever. Thank you. I don't know if I'll be able to top that on Thursday with my question, but we'll see.
Yeah, you gotta come up with a good one.
On that very high note, that'll wrap it up for this episode of the Bottom Line Podcast. If you want to vent out your frustrations on the Yankees, if you're a Yankee fan, or if you want to talk about the Mets, if you're a Met fan, if you have any thoughts on anything we discussed, let us know on Twitter at BottomLineWMCX, at The NVP Show, and on Instagram at BottomLineWMCX, hashtag Bottomline voice message, anchor.fm or Anchor on the app. You know the deal. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube, and leave a like and a comment down below if you're watching. But please make sure you subscribe as well on Apple, Google, and Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Just include my first name, Jimmy, when searching for this podcast. Coming up in the next episode, hopefully there'll be more highs than lows, because Neil and I will give a little bit of a preview of the Giants and the Jets' upcoming NFL season. And in case you're wondering when we're going to do a full NFL season preview, that will be next week. So stay tuned for that. But we're going to stay local for the next episode and just discuss some Giants and Jets. So we'll give our final expectations, our final season records for them, how we expect that they will do, especially with the fact that, hey, the Jets have pretty much lost their terrific defensive weapon in Jamal Adams. Sam Darnold has no weapons, so we'll see how that goes. But with the Giants, that might be a whole another different discussion, but we'll discuss in the next episode. For Neil Villapiano, I'm Jimmy Finizzi. This is the Bottom Line Podcast. See you in the next episode. Peace out.